Well, good morning, church. I am sitting here with Jan Goley. Hi, Jan.
Hello.
Thank you for being willing to do this with me, this
You're welcome.
interview. Talk to us about how long you've been a part of Trinity.
I'm pretty sure that Chris and I have been here as members approximately 12 years.
Okay. So we're interviewing you very specifically this morning because you have adopted 2 kids of African American descent. So I would like for you to tell us about that journey for you and Chris.
Okay. After many years of dealing with infertility, which was hard, Chris and I began the process of international adoption, and that went on for a while. And at that point, we were getting older, and it was like, we need to do something else, and we didn't really think it was ever going to finish. So we decided to change to domestic adoption. And there's a lot of paperwork. It's unreal. But with all the paperwork that has to be filled out, you have to fill out a questionnaire about what race, what age, what sex. Actually, not sex now because they don't accept that anymore. But essentially, it was more along the what race would you choose or would you consider adopting? And after talking with our parents, because we really need to make sure everybody was on board and praying about it, we said that we were going to leave it open, which was fine for us because I didn't have a problem and Chris didn't either. But I've got to tell you, my grandfather was a very prejudiced, very racist man. Growing up in New Mexico, it was very hard, and anybody other than Caucasian, he just was not welcoming. However, my mother was the most open, most caring, the most generous, God-loving woman you could ever meet. And so I am so grateful that I could follow that example. And that was just, and that's why I'm so glad that I can, bring that, kind of put that on the table. And it was kind of neat because both of our families, Chris's family and my family, were just ready to welcome another child into the family. And it didn't matter what race, anything. It was just another child. And adoption is definitely an emotional roller coaster. It's hard. It is not for the faint of heart, let me tell you.
Right.
And we didn't realize that going in, but as you go in, it's like, wow. Just the ups and the downs about what's happening, and but we're so very thankful for Zane and Parker and their birth mothers who chose us.
Yes.
They chose us to be the adoptive parents for their unborn child, and they chose adoption over other options. And out of great love and extreme sacrifice on their part.
Yeah.
For Zane and Parker, and that it's just. Chris and I will never get over that. How much love. And we always tell Zane and Parker, your birth mothers loved you so much.
Yes.
So much.
Yes. So, Jan, you and Chris have a very unique perspective that so many of us don't have on what it is to have an interracial family. I know you to be a very methodical, well-planned out person. And so I know that you would have tried to foresee every step that was going to be a part of this process. But as is with life, I imagine that you have encountered some surprises, some difficulties that you didn't foresee. And so I'm curious to hear what some of those have been that you've experienced as a part of having an interracial family.
One of the surprises that we've encountered were the comments and questions that have been asked us. And and by individuals of all races, okay? Such as, are you the grandparents? And Chris and I are always like, no, these are our children. Or are you babysitting? No, these are our children. We've also been asked other numerous questions, which I'm not going to repeat, but that should never have been said aloud. And we now know, and we try to tell this to the kids, if you don't think it's wise or kind, don't say it. Because you never know how you're going to hurt somebody. Thankfully, we were able to laugh over most of them and walk away. But you also have to think about, how old are the kids who are hearing those questions? Thankfully, they were younger. We haven't gotten any lately, thankfully, because I might be a little bit more blunt now. But we've also noticed a lack of positive examples in TV shows who look like St. Anne Parker. Until Doc McStuffins came around, there really weren't a whole lot. And so even now, there's more, but they still don't represent all the races very much. And that's kind of one thing that we really noticed. And one thing that, I know Jacord talked about this last week with her siblings. When Parker was, we think about 3, I can't remember. She was the temper tantrum stage, and we were at Home Depot and Kohl's. Yes, Parker, my sweet Parker. And Chris had to carry her, and she was kicking and screaming at the top of her lungs, and he had to carry her out of the stores. And we were so concerned because, oh my gosh, somebody's going to stop him, because here's an obviously Caucasian man carrying a very upset little African American girl out of the store. Thankfully it never happened, but the possibility was always there. And now I always, whenever we go anywhere, I always take pictures of the kids before we go, just to make sure that if they ever get separated from us somehow, that I know. Sometimes you explain, oh, this, and they're like, no, that can't be true, and it is.
Sure. Okay, so now talk to us about some of the blessings that you've encountered because you have an interracial family.
We have definitely been blessed. And, we've heard numerous times, oh, what a blessing you are for adopting your children. No. We are the ones who have been blessed beyond measure. We are the ones.
Sure.
And in fact, our whole family, because, I was kind of asking my family last night, hey, give me some ideas, help me think about this. And they were like, oh my goodness, you don't realize what a blessing these kids have been to us. And our families have supported us wholeheartedly. And I'm so thankful for that. They love the kids. I just think about the minute we brought them home from the hospital, how they were wanting to gather around. I want, holding them. And really, we don't see them as being of another race. They are our children who are loved and cherished because they're children of God.
Of course.
And so, really, yes, they are, African American, biracial, but you know what? They're children of God.
Of course.
And, and I know Chris mentioned last night, because we've had so many people strike up conversations with us because of our family dynamics that probably would not have ever said anything to us before.
Sure.
And we've had some really good conversations, and it's been kind of neat.
Yeah.
And so that's another blessing. And also, some of our families mentioned that it has expanded their ability to assess their own racism and bring it to the forefront of their mind and move beyond that. Because, really having a child in the family makes it that much more personal.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And it really does. And it, you just have to think about that. And our family dynamics have just been such a blessing because we are more open to learning, not just about Black history, but those who are around us, we're learning about the Black history and appreciating our neighbors and our friends and our coworkers more, no matter their race. So that has really opened our eyes and made us see more, which is so neat.
Sure. Good. Okay, last question. What do you wish your church knew about race relations that you have learned because of this journey you've been on?
Well, we need to make sure that we listen to each other and not dismiss what is being said about racism, about prejudice, about what is going on in our world. Because even if we're not seeing it, it's there. It's really there. Even though I wish that it wasn't.
Sure.
I wish that it wasn't for my children who haven't encountered a whole lot of it yet. But they might. You know, and it's impossible for us to empathize because we're not African American. We're not any of the other races, but we can still sympathize and we can listen and we can change how we feel and how we react towards it. And sometimes we have to really be conscious about that. About what, even though we may not, our outward, you know, what we portray, we may not say anything, but what we think. And then we all need to remember that we are all created in God's image. All of us are created in God's image. We may all look different, but inside we are all the same. Created for Him.
Good. Thank you so much. Thank you for your transparency and for being vulnerable with us.
Thank you.
We love you. We love Zane and Parker so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.